Listen, man, this is grudge match written all over it. Kamaru, excuse me, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman is a minus 300 favorite with a plus 240 comeback for number one ranked Colby Chaos Covington, man. AJ, gimmicks aside, Trump stuff aside, MAGA hat aside, Colby Covington is one of the best welterweights in the UFC. Obviously, he has the number one next to his name, but I'm talking about just the way that he has handled his career. 16-2, 11-2 in the UFC, 4 knockouts, 4 submissions, 8 decisions. He has gone 4-1 in his last 5. He TKO'd Tyron Woodley. Doesn't look as good now where Tyron's at, losing to Jake Paul and all that, right? But UD win against Robbie Lawler, UD against Rafael Dos Anjos, UD against Damian Maia. His only loss in that 5-fight span has been to Kamaru Usman, where he got a fractured jaw in the 5th round of that fight. The dude has dismantled just about everybody in his path. What do you think, man, about this matchup here? Do you think that Usman, this is just going to be easy work? We know how great the man is. He has proved time and time again on his 18-fight win streak that it doesn't matter who you put in front of him, man. He's dismantling you. But this was the closest fight. So what do you think about this fight? Is this going to be an easy one for Usman? You think this is going to be another barn burner?
No, I think this one's going to be easy for Osman, man. We've seen him get improved with each and every guy, and he's already on the top of the division, and he still keeps improving, bro. This dude, there was a while, back. This was back in the Portland days, Derek, where I was doubting Kamaru Usman, man. I wasn't necessarily sure about the Nigerian Nightmare, but I'm full game now, bro. Usman is an absolute killer, and watching because the X's and O's, it was an amazing fight, back and forth. A lot of people had, I think it was Colby round 1, 3, and 4. If I remember correctly, and Kamaru won that second round until he got the finish. Once he got that finish, game over, obviously. But Colby's a very, very game fighter, but very much a decision fighter where Usman packs that punch, bro.
Yeah.
And it's the wrestling, I think, is going to nullify each other again. We're going to see a standing up barn burner of a scrap right off the jump. But I think this one's going to end early, Derek. I don't see this one going to the ground or going the distance. Excuse me. What about you?
Well, it's interesting because I don't know if this one is going to be the kickboxing fight that it was last time. I'm interested to see if Colby says, okay, I lost the kickboxing fight last time, let's wrestle. You know what I mean? But then pride is on the line because both of these dudes say they're the best wrestlers in the UFC. So it's like, all right, well, let's find out. You know what I mean? Personal opinion, who do you think has the wrestling advantage here? They're literally the 2 best wrestlers in the division, but who do you think has the advantage in terms of being able to take somebody down? Kamaru Usman has never been taken down in the UFC. So what you think?
Yeah, I think it has to go to Usman on that one again, man. The chops that Usman possesses, like you said, never been taken down, and I don't necessarily see Colby Covington doing that either. And they used to train together, so they know each other. They know, the back and forth, the banter, all the stuff is there, so they know who's. And you know this when you walk into a gym and you start scrapping, you know who the top dog is in there. You can all rank each other, 1 through 5, like, oh yeah, I could easily kick his ass. He's pretty good over there. There's different ways going, and I think Kamaru is just the top dog in everything for this fight coming forward. Don't get me wrong though, Colby is a very close second.
Yeah, I'm with you here, man. I think the real game changer in this matchup is that in the last fight, Usman didn't have the jab that he now currently possesses, man. That Trevor Whitman jab has been something else, brother. And I will say, in his fight against Masvidal, right, the second one, what I loved about it is that he was in there, jab, right? And then he was doing these fakes to the takedown, right? So he's getting you thinking. Now you're sitting there like, oh, fuck, because I know if I get taken down, I'm not getting up for the rest of the round. So, like, I got to keep this fight on the feet. Now you drop your hands a little bit. Next thing you know, big right cross over the top. Got knocked out Masvidal style with spit flying out the whole 9. Poster, brother. Yeah, chin touching the shoulder. Like, come on, man. So I think with that being said, it's going to be interesting. But Colby Covington is such a good wrestler. I mean, it's different levels. Masvidal, Covington in terms of wrestling defense and all of that, right? So he might not be as concerned. He might not bite as hard on those takedowns. You know what I mean? All those little feints right there. But have you noticed, AJ? And I don't even want to like make anything of that. This is really just like nitpicking here because of how great Kamaru Usman is. But he kind of follows John Jones in the big, strong dude with the skinniest calves I've ever seen in my life. Body type. That build, that archetype. Do you think Colby Covington is going to try to attack some calf kicks or something, man? What do you see there?
I think it'd make a good idea, man. Yeah. Especially, it's something that we haven't really seen Colby come out and be that calf kicker. Yeah. He's maintaining pressure. His wrestle style, really, really much a touch and go, piece you up on the feet, get you down to the ground. if he starts kicking some calves, it's something we haven't seen, and it really takes that eye line off. If you're able to shift that eye line from, up here in the head, chest area to now you're worried about like, oh, I gotta get my feet out of the way. Yeah, it's an interesting fold that's part of the game, and that's what Colby was talking about, that he changed camps, has a lot new folds in the archetype or in the tool belt. And it's going to be interesting to see what he does. Although I don't see it, man. I think there's from all the smoke that Colby's been blowing for how many years, I just don't necessarily see it. What about you?
I don't know, man. I wouldn't count him out. I think it's clearly number one and number two. Usman number one, Colby number two. I think it's clear, it's defined, and just because you're not number one is okay. You're still a very dangerous man. So I would not discount the man whatsoever. There is that psychological thing, though, right, where Usman's like, I already knocked you out, bro. Would you want the smoke again? All right, come get it. You know what I'm saying? Interesting stat. Colby Covington has the most takedowns in the welterweight division actively right now with 61. So, I mean, you can't discount that, right? The man takes his opponents down. He does it time and time and time again. Complete grinder, pressure fighter, underrated kickboxing too, man. So, like, I wouldn't discount Colby Covington's kickboxing. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he had Usman hurt in their fight at one point in that fight, man. So it can happen. It can totally happen. But AJ, man, I mean, Usman has been undeniable. He truly has been. And after the fight against, so let's look at the last five. Unanimous decision win against Tyron Woodley to win the championship, right? All right, cool. You got the belt. It is what it is. Knocks out Colby Covington for the first defense. UD win against Jorge Masvidal, right? People thought that was boring and whack, whatever. Knocks out Gilbert Burns, right? That was the crazy barn burn. But he was hurt in that fight too, right? And then knocks out Jorge Masvidal. So if you look at it, he's really only Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal, and Gilbert Burns have really been the only title defenses, man. So though those are kind of top of the heap fighters, it's not the entire top of the heap at 170 pounds. So there's still questions that need to be answered by KAMARU Usman, but he's talking now, AJ, about, oh yeah, I want to go box Canelo Alvarez to make this money and do all this good stuff, which is like totally cool. But this to me signals a little bit of I've already cleaned out the division. I'm not really that hungry anymore. And that's the attitude you cannot have when you're the champion. He's hungry, man. He's hungry. He wants to take that belt, and he wants to go take it to the White House and do all the bullshit. Maybe not now, but, once upon a time, that was his whole gimmick and spiel. And still or and new, brother. Where are we going on this one?
I'm going with and still, brother. I think I agree with you though when I heard him talking about we might get the pound for pound versus the pound for pound. I was like, damn, this dude's overlooking Colby. He doesn't seem as hungry. Where Colby has something to prove. Yeah. So don't get me wrong. Don't discount Colby in this fight at all. And I think the shtick has started to calm down a little bit. We're not necessarily seeing the MAGA warrior that we were of Colby Covington. He's coming out. I don't think he had a Trump hat this time. He had the fire department and the police hats this time. So a little bit toned down Colby Covington, but maybe a more savage in the ring. We'll see. And but I still think it's Usman, bro. I'm going KAMARU Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare, KO round 2. I think he gets it done a little bit faster. Like I said, dude, this dude's been improving with each fighter he has, and the more tape he's able to watch, especially with Trevor Whitman, I think Trevor Whitman's winning all night long. Well, maybe not that Justin Gaethje fight, but I think either way, with him in his corner and the tape and the technique and the game plan going forward, I think it's a very dangerous combo that they have together, man. I'm going KAMARU Usman KO round 2. What about you, Derek?
All right, man. I'm going and still on this one. I think Usman does get it done. I think it'll be a much closer fight than anybody ever anticipated, though, man. So I'm going decision. KAMARU Usman, back and forth, man. If you remember correctly, man, I think that Colby had it was like a situation where it was like a fake nut shot or an eye poke or something, something that didn't really happen, where Usman was able to recover a little bit. Even though Colby was putting on some pressure, he was starting to gain momentum and whatnot. So things like that kind of make fights weird and whatnot. So I do think we're going to see back and forth. We could see a 2-2 going into the fifth, man, or, something close to that, man. But I think and still, KAMARU Usman, his jab is so good. His boxing is good, even though he does throw wild sometimes. You know what I mean? We even saw that against Masvidal, where he's throwing these crazy looping shots. I just don't know that wrestling is the X factor here. I want to see if they're going to wrestle, man. We got the two best wrestlers wrestle. I want to see it, man. The people want to see it, man. But I'm going and still KAMARU Usman decision. And then the over-under on this one, AJ, is 3.5. -145 for the over, +115 for the under. So it looks like you're taking the under, huh?
I'm taking the under on this one, brother. I think he gets it done.
Okay, right on. It's going to be definitive. If he does, man, truly, it's going to be hard to argue against him in the pound for pound rankings. But I'm taking the over on this one, minus 145, folks. So minus 300 in Usman, minus 145 for the over. Should be a fun night, man. That caps off all of our title fights here on the main card at UFC 268.